Greetings, beloved Princeton United Methodist Church community. It's Pastor Jenny here with an update for you, and I'm reading from Luke chapter 12, verse 15. And Jesus said to them, "Take care, be on your guard against all kinds of greed, for one's life does not consist in the abundance of possessions." This is the word of life. Thanks be to God. Greed and possessions, things that are so challenging for us, right? And I know sometimes too we can hear these words that we all know that Jesus said. We all know that these are things that that we're supposed to be on the lookout for. And sometimes I know that for me, I tend to just I just don't even want to hear it. I like plug my ears and I close up my heart and just say, I just can't even deal with that right now, because it's so hard to deal with, right? We have so many things, and most of us do at least, and there are ways that it's hard to keep from having so many things. We live in a culture that doesn't repair things. It's meant to just throw away things, and there's just a lot of stuff all over the place. And some of us are great at throwing it out or recycling it or passing it on to someone else, and some of us, it just kind of accumulates. So what do we do when we hear scriptures like this? First, we try not to just turn a blind eye or say, I can't deal with it now. I think we need to listen to some other invitation that is there and there within us. What is it that we are being called to in this moment that we maybe is beyond just feeling guilt or shame for the struggle that comes with all that is in this world, right? I love how Jesus says, take care of all kinds of greed. So maybe in this moment, if it's not possession, if it's possessions that's just a little overwhelming for you, or some other version, some other thing, we look to a different thing and say, I wonder where greed pops up in my life, in my heart, in my soul, in ways that I don't automatically put in that same category. I think about this when it comes to sort of our public life together, our collective communal life together. Jesus talks after this one verse. There's a parable that goes with it, and we'll hear that on Sunday. But it's really, greed is about self-interest. It's about taking care of myself at the expense or the neglect of other people. And we do that not just by having a lot of things, right? But by how we orient ourselves to the world and to other people and things in this world. I think about how when we are forming opinions or voting about things, and from which place do we consider the economy, for example? From where do we consider what our preferences are, what our decisions are, what our stances are when it comes to possessions and material wealth and sharing at a bigger level? This stuff is really hard, and it's very complex, and it takes a lot of thought and dialogue, I think. But it also starts with the spiritual place. We as followers of Jesus, we as Christians, have to listen in these ways, to think that it's not just in my scope of things, in my own household, how does this work? But how does this work on a bigger scale? How do I watch out for greed? How do I become aware of when I am looking out for my own self-interest over and above the common good, the collective good, the whole community, our local community, our bigger community, our nationwide community, and our global community? And friends, we make decisions about these things all the time, and so much so that it's impossible, I think, for us to get a handle on all of the ramifications, all of the ways all of our decisions lead to consequences beyond what we can fathom and know. So certainly we cannot there's not one right path. There's not easy answers. Much of the time we're having to choose something that we hope is better over something else. And I do know that sometimes there just isn't the space to make good decisions, or to even know what is a good decision or not. Life is busy. So I invite you to hear this greed word, this statement from Jesus: be aware, be on guard against all kinds of greed, and just to sit with it. Again, and so many of the times when I bring these things to you, sit with it without judgment, without shame, without a critical eye, just to be able to see and observe, where is greed popping up in ways that I am not as aware of, where I didn't think of this, or I didn't realize this before. I thought it was something else, and maybe as I look a little closer, it's greed, or maybe it's a complex mixture of things. There's greed mixed in with some other things too. So just hear that invitation, hear that message from Jesus today. Be on guard against all kinds of greed, and see where your meditation on that, your contemplation of that, leads you this day. May it continue to be filled with invitation after invitation, as this is not something that we need to hear once or are done. We're never done with our watchfulness around greed. So that's the invitation for this week. I did want to update you about a couple of things. First, we celebrate with Evangeline and Alex and Henry Burgers on the birth of Amelia Jean, their new daughter, sister in the family. Everybody is doing well, and we sent an email out about that last week, but I know it's easy to miss these things too, so I wanted you to hear it one more time. Also, I wanted you to know that this past Saturday, here at the church, we hosted our inaugural Central District Multi-Site Ministry Design Team meeting. It's a mouthful, I know. You've heard me before, hopefully, talk about this multi-site ministry that we are exploring and building together with some of the other local churches around. We've already dived into this with Kingston United Methodist Church. You've started to hear and see and feel some of the ways that our churches have started to become more aligned and be partners with one another. But there's more to come, more in at least a couple of ways. One way is that we are in conversation with these other congregations too. This past Saturday was the first time that all 5 churches, laity, some lay representatives and clergy got together to build some relationships, to set the stage for the work to come. There's still a lot of discernment that must happen and around for all the congregations about their involvement, but we are the anchor church here. It is we become kind of the church that holds a lot of the pieces together. I'm helping to lead this. I and Iona Harding are helping to lead this design team, and we are working to build some structures, to build an organizational and governance structure, some alignment around vision, mission, and values, a financial and business plan. We'll be bringing more of these things to you along the way. This is something that's going to take a while, and there'll be important places for you to have conversation with us as you more deeply understand what's happening and what could happen and where some choice points are for us as well. But I wanted you to know that is in the works, and that's something that is emerging. We are also lots of possible changes afoot here. So we are also this week talking about. I was thinking about timing. This will have already happened by the time you hear this video, but we can send you the video recording of it. We have had 2 information sessions about a change in governance structure that's being proposed for Princeton UMC. We're talking about shifting from our current church council model as it is to what's called a simplified leadership board model. and we have some things that we can send, but there will be a video link included here that you can see the presentation and the questions and responses that were shared at Tuesday night's meeting about this very thing. So more to come about all these things. I know it's a lot of movement, and I also really trust that God is in the midst of all of it and moving us toward ministry in new ways and exciting ways, and ways that make an impact for the kingdom in this community right here, but also in a wider region to boot. Friends, it is a joy to work with you, a joy to be in ministry with you, a joy to pray with you and to journey with you. And remember always, you are enough because God is enough. Remember that you are created for joy and invited to dance the sacred dance